Welcome to Formosa Dream Chasers.
We're your hosts, Mary Ann
and Ching En.
Please join us as we explore the journeys amazing people take in pursuit of their dreams
and get insights from their experiences.
Let's hit the road
and get started.
Hello and welcome back to Formosa Dream Chasers, where we share the stories of ordinary people pursuing extraordinary dreams across Taiwan and beyond. With me, your host, Mary Ann Shoko. If you're just joining us, you may have missed out on part 1 of our conversation with Dr. Henry Wu, a board-certified family physician and one of Taiwan's leading voices in preventive medicine, anti-aging medicine, and bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, also known as BHRT. In that episode, Dr. Wu challenged many of the assumptions we've come to accept about health and modern medicine. Instead of simply asking, "What disease do you have?" he encouraged us to ask a different question. Why is this happening in the first place? We explored the principles of functional medicine and why understanding the root causes of illness can be just as important as treating the symptoms. Dr. Wu explained how lifestyle factors, including our diet, sleep, stress, physical activity, and environmental exposures, play a major role in the development of many chronic diseases. He also shared why gut health extends far beyond digestion. Dr. Wu explained that the gut is much more than a digestive organ. It's a critical barrier that helps regulate our immune system and inflammation throughout the body. When that barrier is compromised, it can affect far more than digestion, with growing evidence linking it to inflammation, immunity, metabolism, brain health, and many of the chronic conditions affecting people today. He also reminded us that while supplements can play a supporting role, there's no shortcut that can replace the foundation of a healthy lifestyle. Today, we continue that conversation by expanding our view of holistic health even further. If our bodies function as one interconnected system, then another important piece of that puzzle is our hormones. Yet, despite the vital role they play in our metabolism, energy, mood, sleep, and overall quality of life, hormones, particularly hormone replacement therapy, remain one of the most misunderstood topics in medicine. If you've ever wondered whether the symptoms we often blame on aging are simply something we have to accept, or whether there's a better way to understand and manage them, then this is a conversation you won't want to miss. So let's jump back into our discussion with Dr. Henry Wu.
So, for example, nowadays, metabolic issues, obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, they are very common. So, addressing your lifestyle factors well not only prevent all these chronic diseases, it can also help your gut healthier. I train at the conventional family medicine, and what family medicine told me is that we have to look the person as a whole. We treat the whole person. You know, every organ and every system, they are interconnected. They don't work separately. So that's what functional medicine and family medicine, they look the person as a whole, which is very important because as you can see, your heart does not function alone. It doesn't function separately. They have to interconnect with, heart vessels, brain, metabolism, your liver, your gut. They all function together. So every organ system, they are interconnected. So it's very important to look at the person as a whole. However, nowadays, because in Taiwan, you can go to the hospital, medical center, whatever clinic you want to go to. You can go to the subspecialty doctors directly, and you may be treated. People may suffer from a variety of symptoms. And if they want to go to every specialty, they will have to go to a lot of doctors, the so-called doctor shopping. But the root causes may be pretty much the same. Yeah. So it's very important to look at the person as a whole person. when you suffer from a lot of symptoms, usually you have to think about the possible common root causes.
Right. I definitely agree with that approach because I've had the experience of what you call doctor shopping, where I had different symptoms and then I had to go to different specialists to figure out what was wrong with me, only to realize that none of the specialty doctors were addressing my particular problem because it turns out, as you mentioned, it was some other root cause that triggered all of the symptoms that I was seeing. So that approach, I think, that approach of looking at the person or the patient from a holistic point of view definitely resonates with me. Mm.
Yeah, and well, the conventional healthcare system, the Western medicine, well, it's very superb in treating some diseases like acute disease, like infection, like accident, etc., and surgery. But for chronic diseases, usually, chronic disease, there are a lot of factors that play a role in chronic diseases development. So usually we have to address the root cause of it. And root cause may be, for example, lifestyles are always the common root causes, the lifestyle problems. But for example, if you have a lot of symptoms, you go to a lot of specialist doctors and they may treat your symptoms by giving you drugs. But what if you have 5 symptoms, 10 symptoms? You may get 10 kinds of drugs. But if you address your root cause well, maybe the symptoms may go away. So it's very important that the modern Western medicine, it treats the acute disease well, symptoms management well. If you need surgery, the modern Western medicine can do it well and address the infection disease well. But for chronic diseases, maybe we need another approach. I'm not saying that the Western medicine does not help. Of course, you can take some medications to control your numbers, but you can do from another way, a more holistic way at the same time. And maybe when you get better, you can reduce your medications over time. You can feel better, function better, and feel much healthier.
Yes. Since we're talking about looking at a person's health holistically, in addition to publishing a book that you wrote on leaky gut, I also know that you published another book on hormones, focusing
Yes,
on bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, or also known as BHRT. And since
yes.
we're talking about the topic of holistic health, maybe you could give us an idea or tell us why hormones matter to a person's health.
All right. Yeah. So as a functional medicine practitioners, as a family medicine physician, and either functional medicine or anti-aging medicine or preventive medicine, family medicine. Well, I look at the person as a whole. I want to treat the person as a whole. So to help this person prevent disease and to promote health, to regain the quality of life, there are a lot of factors that we mentioned. Your diet, nutrition, your exercise, activity, your stress management, your sleep quality, and environmental toxins and hormonal balance, they are all very important factors regarding the long-term health or healthy longevity. However, most people, they understand that diet nutrition is important. Yes, of course, people understand that, although they probably don't do well. They understand that activity, exercise is important. Yes,
Yes.
although they probably don't exercise at all. They know that stress is important. Yeah, but they cannot avoid stress. And they know sleep quality is very important, but they don't sleep well. But however, whenever I talk about the hormones, most people don't understand that. And when we talk about hormones, people think about the menopause. They think about
Yes.
women. They think about women has menopause. However, when I talk about, when I educate or when I give a talk in public and talk about the importance of hormones, a lot of women, they got confused because they think, a lot of women, they think that hormones are bad. Hormones can cause some kind of disease, some kind of cancer. Why do we talk about hormones? Why do we say that hormones is important? So there are a lot of misconception and misunderstanding out there about hormones. So that's why, we talk about this. Health is not just about being free from disease. Health is about your overall health, your physical health, your mental health. So it's about all these factors. We talk about your diet, nutrition, your exercise, stress management, being free from toxins and hormonal balance. But hormone is a field that is very under-recognized and even misunderstood. And hormones is not just about reproduction. It's about the whole body function. There are a lot of hormones in our body. As we age, a lot of hormones decline. For example, for women, when they go into the midlife, let's say after 40, their sex hormones start to decline. They start to lose hormones. And when we lose hormones, we lose metabolism. When we lose metabolism, we gain weight easily in the form of fat around the middle section. That's why a lot of women, when they go this midlife or menopausal transition, they experience a lot of symptoms, and one of the symptoms that they keep mentioning is the weight gain. No matter what they do, even they eat the same diet, they exercise the same, they don't change their life, but they still put on weight in the middle section because their physiology changes. So hormones are so very important. They are not only related to your metabolism. When you lose hormones, it may cause a lot of symptoms physically, mentally, and even urogenitally. So it's about whole body function. And it's very important to balance your hormones and to optimize your hormones so that you can function better, feel better, and healthier, and even to prevent the long-term chronic diseases. But a lot of women, they fear hormones because of the old misconceptions and misunderstandings. So I keep answering the same questions that women have. Therefore, I decided to write a book on this. I train at the conventional medical education. I totally understand why majority of women have that misunderstanding and misconception. And even some professionals probably don't grasp the whole concept of hormone replacement therapy. However, as a lot of the evidence shows the importance of hormones. So I think many women nowadays, they start to realize that when they lose hormones, they feel bad. But, the old conceptions, they need a good education. They need to understand this correctly so that they can understand better and so that they may take action. That's why I write this book, trying to educate the public to let them know what's going on about this hormone replacement therapy study in history.
I think the fear that you're referring to when it comes to hormone replacement therapy was that for women who take it, supposedly there is an increased risk for cancer.
Yeah.
And can you tell us more about why this isn't true or this isn't the case?
Right. So most women, they fear hormone replacement therapy because they associate hormone replacement therapy, HRT, with increased risk for breast cancer. And this fear mainly comes from a study that was published in 2002, the WHI, Women's Health Initiative Hormone Study. And the study shows that those postmenopausal women who took hormone replacement therapy has increased risk for breast cancer. Now, before that study was published, a lot of women, more and more women, they start taking HRT because HRT can relieve a lot of their symptoms physically, mentally, urogenitally. They feel better and they feel well. And even before the WHI study was published, a lot of studies show that HRT can even prevent chronic diseases like cardiovascular disease, dementia, and bone loss and bone fracture. So it's so great. However, that study published in 2002 showed that the increased risk for breast cancer, and that's dramatic. It's a surprise. And, a lot of women, they are confused. Why was this HRT related to the increased risk of breast cancer? And so after the 2002 study, the prevalence of the HRT prescription dropped significantly. However, 2 decades went by, and a lot of other studies came out. And even that WHI study, although they stopped the hormone replacement therapy, however, the scientists keep tracking all those study population to see their chronic diseases, their cardiovascular disease, their cancer diseases, and even their mortality, their death rates. So after 20 more years, a lot of studies shows that the hormone replacement therapy, the previous claim that HRT increased breast cancer risk was not correct. Even last year, in November 2025, the U.S. FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, and the HHS, which is Department of Health and Human Services, they removed the black box warning on HRT. Well, back at that time, in 2002, when the study was published, the FDA, they applied this label, black box warning, on HRT products, warning people that it may increase the risk of cardiovascular disease, breast cancer, and dementia, etc. But after 2 decades, the FDA, who applied that label on it, now reverse it, because with 2 decades, more than 2 decades evidence, they look back at the old WHI studies, and a lot of experts, professionals, and doctors, they look back all those studies and numbers, and they claim that it was a very misleading warnings. And even the FDA commissioner, Dr. Martin McCary, said, it is an American tragedy and is one of the biggest mistakes in modern medicine.
I see. Okay.
And even, he further added that with the exception of vaccines and antibiotics, there is no medications that can benefit the health of women on a population level more than hormone replacement therapy. So when we look at the old study, the 2002 WHI study, there are a lot of flaws in their study. Actually, the breast cancer risk was not statistically significant. And the hormone they used was the synthetic, chemically altered hormones. It's not bioidentical hormones. So there are a lot of professional nuances in the study, but most people, the general public, they don't realize this. They are frightened by the headlines. That's why a lot of women, if they talk, when they have this fear, when they talk about that hormones are bad, hormones cause breast cancer, etc., usually this fear, this misconception comes from that old study, WHI hormone study. But when a lot of other studies showing that when you use bioidentical hormones, it does not increase the breast cancer risk.
Okay. You mentioned that bioidentical hormones are much better than the synthetic ones. Yeah. Can you explain what bioidentical hormones mean?
Yeah, so hormone is just a term. It's a general term. There are a lot of different hormones. Bioidentical hormones means the molecule of the hormones is identical to the hormones that your body produces. However, synthetic chemically altered hormones, their molecular structures are different from the hormones that your body produces. So the synthetic chemically altered hormones, well, actually, they don't exist in your body. It's artificially made, it's chemically altered. It's a hormone, yes, but it does not exist in your body in the first place. So bioidentical hormone replacement therapy means that you use the same identical molecular structure, the hormone product, and you put it back into your body, which is quite different from the synthetic chemically altered hormones.
That's all for today's episode. Don't forget to join us next week as we continue our chat with Dr. Henry Wu.
This is Ching and Cho
and Mary Ann Shoko.
See you guys next week. Bye.